In 2018, approximately 1.7 million people were diagnosed with cancer. 10,600 of them were children. In 2018, there were 1,670 deaths each day from cancer, making cancer the second leading cause of death. Approximately 18.1 million people were diagnosed with cancer globally, and there were 9.6 million deaths from cancer. In the survey I gave, about half the class did not know what immunotherapy was, but most of the class thought that the biggest advantage would be helping patients. This is a slide of the 5 different types of immunotherapy. Number 1 is monoclonal antibodies, the immune system, which makes the immune system recognize cancer cells that it wasn't able to previously. There are over 75 drugs approved to date. Immune checkpoint inhibitors releases the immune system's molecular brakes called checkpoints, and at least 6 drugs have been approved so far. Cancer vaccines are the next one, and there's 2 types, preventative and treatment, and they possibly will use artificial intelligence for personalized medicine. Adoptive cell transfer is the next one, and it's pretty new, only 2 drugs have been approved, and it uses gene editing. Cytokines are the next one, and are man-made versions of some proteins that boost the immune system and are kind of complicated. According to the Cancer Research Institute, since the immune system is exact, cancer cells could be targeted without damaging healthy cells, which a majority of common cancer treatments like radiation and chemotherapy do damage the normal cells, healthy cells. And since the immune system has a memory, it is possible to exploit that memory to target and eliminate cancer cells. Just like cancer, the immune system has the ability to adapt. According to research done by the American Society of Clinical Oncology, in 2013, certain combinations of checkpoint inhibitors could show an increase in survival rates up to 60% in some cancers. This is a slide of route of checkpoint inhibitors. It starts down here. It's the release of cancer cells, antigens, and the stimulatory factors are in green and the inhibitors are in red, as you see here. Then it goes up to the second one, which is cancer antigen presentation, and then third is priming activation. Here it goes to the trafficking of tumor cells, where the T cells start to recognize the tumors, and this is where it starts to break the barrier of the tumor cell, and this is where it recognizes it, and then it kills the cancer cells. Next, I have a video from the City of Hope on CAR T therapy.
When it comes to fighting cancer, the most important battle happens in the immune system. And leading this fight are T cells, the soldiers of the immune system. When a cancer cell circulates in the body, T cells are supposed to find signs on its surface indicating it's abnormal, then latch on and destroy it. But cancer cells are masters of disguise. They can change in ways that trick T cells into not recognizing them. CAR T cell therapy restores a T cell's ability to recognize and destroy cancer. To do this, first T cells are taken from the patient's blood and genetically modified so they can attack and kill cancer cells. The modified cells are then grown to large numbers outside the body and eventually put back into the patient. Once they are inside the patient's body, the re-engineered T cells continue multiplying and patrolling the body to destroy cancer cells. The hope that this will give the patient's immune system the advantage against the cancer. CAR T cell therapy is one way City of Hope scientists are empowering a patient's own immune system to fight cancer.
Now that I've told you about some of the some of the types of immunotherapy treatments for cancer, I will tell you about the side effects of cancer treatments.
I have to click with the mouse to go to the next slide.
possible side effects for radiation are diarrhea, fatigue, nausea and vomiting, bone loss in the jaw. Common side effects for chemo are anemia, appetite changes, constipation, diarrhea, fatigue, infection, and nausea and vomiting. My father had throat cancer he was first diagnosed in the 80s, and then he had it again, another reoccurrence in the 90s. He received radiation treatment, and he ended up with problems with his jawbone, and they ended up having to remove part of it. He had a hard time swallowing, he had to have all this food, period, and he also had to go into hyperbaric hyperbaric treatment to get some of the radiation out and make his bones stronger. My aunt was also had radiation, and she ended up with bowel issues because she had a female cancer, and it's common to have bowel issues with female cancers. My uncle, who did not have cancer, but he had a tumor that was on his pituitary, he received radiation to shrink it. It damaged his optic nerve, and a year after the treatment stopped, he ended up being legally blind from the radiation. I have a lot of people in my family with cancer. My mom had chemo. She also had surgery before the chemo, and she ended up with an infection in the incision, so they had to reopen the incision to let the infection drain. Then her chemo, one of the common side effects for her chemo meds was numbness in the hands and feet. She ended up with that, fell actually walking into my house. She also couldn't drink or eat anything that was hot or cold because she would get the numbness. Also, she felt like, she drank cold water one time, and she felt like she had Pop Rocks in her mouth. Then for long-term, immunotherapy side effects, the common ones are dry, irritated eyes, pain in the joints, diarrhea, skin rashes on the body. Rare side effects are headache, thyroid-related issues, shortness of breath and coughing, and yellowing of the eyes. According to MD Anderson, only 5 to 10% of patients experience these side effects for immunotherapy, and only 1 to 2% have passed away. And fatigue and inflammation are the most common side effects. The side effects usually show up early in treatment and last about 1 to 3 weeks. Unlike chemo and radiation, who have long-term side effects, my mom actually ended up with a long-term side effect from the chemo for about 6 months to a year after the treatment stopped. Every single time she was around my nephew and he was sick, she got it like that. She was sick like every other week, I think. You can also get fatigue, early menopause in females, bone and joint problems. For chemo, radiation and bone growth issues in children, cavities, tooth decay, cognitive challenges. As of yet, there's no known side effects for immunotherapy for long term because it's so new. This is a schematic comparison of patient survival associated with the different therapies and improved survival with combination immunotherapy. You can see with conventional chemotherapy, they give you about a 5-year survival rate, typically. First generation and second generation, everything else that involves chemo or immunotherapy goes up to 10 years. And that's my website. Immunotherapy can enhance the immune system's natural ability to fight cancer. Cancer is an ugly disease that takes so much away from people, including a person's independence. And oftentimes the treatments are just as bad as the cancer. In summary, the treatments can be as bad as the disease. Immunotherapy could be the answer to making the treatments easier. I feel passionate about using immunotherapy to treat cancer, either on its own or in conjunction with chemo or radiation, to minimize the side effects of them.